So this semester, I was in an MD room at Garfield Elementary with 8 4th through 6th graders. I have Disney music playing because whenever they take an exam or they do their homework, they listen to Disney music, PS. Um, I started off my first field placement in my freshman year in the same classroom, and a lot has changed since then. There have been 2 new students come into her classroom, Mrs. Forrest, and one has left. He moved out of the district. But the students' disabilities range from Asperger's to being born with fetal alcohol syndrome, and he's actually confined to a wheelchair. But because I already knew the majority of the students and my teacher, the first day I actually got to start off with lessons and doing one-on-one tutoring, and it was like I never left. But I've done a lot of teaching this semester and a lot of lessons. I've read books to the students and then asked them questions. I've worked with a student who's deaf and taught her new signs. What's really cool about that is I'm actually in ASL 1 right now, and since she's kind of behind, we're learning the same things that she is right now. So whenever I do flashcards with her, it's like I'm reviewing. So that's pretty cool. Um, and then the cool one, my favorite one that I've ever done, my favorite lesson was my teacher was out of the classroom because she had to have surgery that week on her gallbladder. But she asked me if I would plan my own lesson for a day, and so I did. And she told me to focus on their sight words that they had been reviewing, and so she had me take them a packet of their flashcards, and depending on their level, the different words I gave them. But I brought in Play-Doh, and I had them roll them out, and I brought in those little cookie cutter things that are in the shape of letters, and they all got to choose their letters that they needed for their specific sight words, and they cut out the words, and then they pulled them apart and got their words left there, and then all of them came together and all of their words made a sentence. So they got to take pictures with their Play-Doh and stuff. That was really fun. And my teacher told me it was a really great lesson because that's what the parents had told her, and they loved it. So she said she's going to use that in a later date, so that's really cool with her other classroom. Um, I've had some crazy moments this semester with this one student. Um, she has Tourette's, and she's severely behind on her reading and a lot of things, and because she came from a different school. But she, let's just say, likes to act out a lot. A few weeks ago, I brought Chinese food that was left over for lunch, and I was sitting there eating with them, and she got very upset that she didn't have any. So she threw a fit in the middle of the cafeteria, and she managed to call my teacher and the principal, and I called her a bitch. She called them a bitch. So, after watching that and how my teachers handled it, they took her out in the hallway after they, constrained her because she was flailing and throwing punches. They took her out into the hallway, and they told me to come outside with them to help. And they held her back and told her, what's wrong with what she did. And then they took her down to the office and called her parents. She was suspended, clearly. But I've learned a lot on discipline trying to handle her. And I had a more one-on-one kind of situation with her, where I was sitting at the computer trying to do her Edmark homework with her, and she didn't want to, so she just hit the off button on the computer and turned it off. And I asked her, and I said, why'd you do that? And she told me that she didn't want to do it anymore. So I said, no, you have to do it. It's part of your work. So she got up, and she just left, and she threw her stuff on the ground. So she was upset. So I got down on the ground with her, and I said, okay, look here. I know you don't want to do it, but you have to, because it's what Mrs. Forrest wants you to do. So I think getting on her level and making it seem like, like we were close, and we were pretty good friends, I'd have to say that, and getting there and talking to her a little bit and calming her down, I got her to do what she needed to do. So I've learned how getting to know a student more can really help when you're, like, having an issue with them. and learning what sets them off and what can help them. So just calming her down kind of really helps a lot. A really cool story that I have, just last week, there's a student, we'll call him Bob. Bob was in Pennsylvania for an entire week because he was having surgery on his legs, and he got braces for his legs, and he got crutches because he had been in a wheelchair. And this Monday he came back and he was walking, and I've seen him in a wheelchair, the only times I've ever seen him, and it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. And at lunch on Monday, Mrs. Richardson brought Bob out in front of the entire cafeteria, and showed him off in his new walking to the entire cafeteria, and he got a round of applause, and he started crying because he was so happy that, he had gotten all this attention, and he loved it. And he came over and he was talking, and he's like, that was the coolest thing ever. It was the coolest thing, Miss Alicia. I'm going to walk everywhere. I'm going to walk a mile tomorrow. And I was like, well, you need to calm down a little bit. You can't do that yet. But he loved that. And it was the coolest thing ever. And those kind of things that make me love my major. Next year, Mrs. Forrest is going to have a whole new group of students because 7 of the 8 students are actually moving up. And so she's going to have a whole entire new classroom. She's just going to have to learn all new names. She's going to have to learn all new lessons and all kinds of new ways to teach because they all don't have the same, they all have different disabilities, so they're all on different levels. But she's upset that she's losing all of her kids because they're all going up to middle school, but she's happy she gets to meet new kids, so that's really cool. So she was talking to me, and she told me that I should come back next semester, but I really want to try the suburban school. So I talked to her about that, and she said, well, I should get a new experience because I've already been in her classroom for the past not past 2 semesters, but I've been there for 2 semesters, and I wanted to give someone else an opportunity to learn what I've learned from Mrs. Forrest. All in all, I can say definitely I've gained so much from Mrs. Forrest and all of her teaching styles. She's a very organized person, which I am too, so we haven't clashed at all. It's been awesome. She's given me many ideas on how to reward kids and how to discipline. And the pairs in the classroom, they're awesome too. I can't forget about them. They have taught me how to work with other adults in the classroom. They can help with, maybe if there's an issue, they can stay in the classroom when I'm running to go, laminate something or something. So they're always there and they can always help you. And then the students, they've taught me the most. They all have such different personalities and they all have different learning styles, so you have to learn how to teach different ways. So it's hard, but I've learned a lot. They've taught me how to be patient, and they've taught me how to teach them in different ways. Needless to say, I'm not looking forward to Monday coming around because it's going to be my last day seeing them. But I can definitely say that I've learned a lot this semester, and my first semester I learned a lot too. But I've learned the most this semester, and I'm looking forward to a whole new experience in a suburban school next year. So, thank you.